And these guys have to fight with them, and they learn these things that James just talked about, like, that's how they reincarnate. Mm-hmm. And earlier, the two young sons that were serving the meal were coughing like as if they were sick, but they're not sick.
Yeah, they had like a Band-Aid on their head.
Yeah, they're not sick. They're dead.
I think they were like about to die.
Yeah, something has happened to them.
Or they were dead, and like the master, because they were his sons, he couldn't kill them, so that's why he brought in these guys to
dismember them, is what he said.
Them. Yes.
And
because these zombies, they don't die like the zombies we're used to with they need their brains to explode or whatever it is for regular zombies. These ones, what is it they need?
They need they need their whole soul to go away. Like something has to happen for them to like be completely gone. And that's what I
think if they lose their mobility, or it's something about like mobility.
Yeah.
Because like one zombie has like a knife in his neck and it didn't stop him, but the other guy got like chopped in half and it stopped him.
Oh yeah. So it's the mobility, and this is where I thought was really cool because these two young apprentices have secretly been learning all of these things. I thought it'd be fun to like try and come up with some of our own, like, so like one of them does like a scorpion stomp, or a swing of the eel tail or something, I was like,
like the bear's paw.
Yeah, the bear's paw.
Take an animal and give it the crane style kick, or take an animal and a martial art move.
Yeah, so these two apprentices use some of their moves that their masters did not teach them, and their masters are not happy with them, and they walk away on them, leaving them to fight.
Where did you learn those moves? We didn't teach them to you. Because I guess they're like it's like the poison kung fu, which is a brand of kung fu. I guess they're not supposed to mess around with. But okay. But here's the interesting thing, Larry. Because one of the masters says, "I want you to not use your kung fu." Like,
I read that too.
Your kung fu.
I read that too, and I kept thinking that was a misprint.
Yeah, so I thought that was weird because the master asked them not to use kung fu that they taught them. And then when they do, they're like, oh, that was wrong.
It's a test.
It was a test. It was a test to see if they had been studying outside of what the masters had been teaching them.
And they failed the test.
They failed. And the masters just walked out.
This is nasty stuff here, man. Because these two masters walk out on them and they're like, the job's not done. You guys hacked and slashed on these two like skinny skeletons, but that's when we see these two sons that are fresh zombies, and the fight is on. Look at this movement. We're going to talk about this art, but look at that.
There's really good action in this sequence.
Yeah, so it is just hack and slash, fight, and I don't think these two apprentices do too well. I don't think they come back.
I think they do all right. Well, at the very end, we see there's kind of a statement that's like, you got a lot of work to do. The master's been in this house for thousands of years. So you imagine they got thousands of years worth of relatives to fight through.
And then we meet those. We see them over the shoulders of these guys who are pretty spent. And you know that they're sick because they've eaten the extra spice. They're not going to do too well against these other zombies. I don't think they make it out.
Yeah, I guess we may never know.
We may never know.
Because that's the end of that story.
Because that's the end of that story. And look at them coming at him. It's like a Scooby-Doo mystery or something like that.
It ends in a good full page with them back to back with a bunch of crawling zombies and zombies from meat hooks. And we've talked about the plot, but we haven't really talked about the art much. And this art, I'm just going to start off by saying it's my favorite art of the season so far, Larry.
It is so sweet looking. It's
black and white. It's watercolor, but there's this weird blend between watercolor and hard lines that I don't know how he blended it, but it looks
masterful.
So good.
It is so cool
goes
looking.
Right from one to the other.
the skeletons. My favorite. I don't know if this is going to tell you much about me, but my favorite is like this guy slaps this guy with the rage of the centipede or something. That's his move. He's like, oh, what's it called? Rage of the centipede, of something like that. Yeah. And he slaps this guy's spine out of him. It is just like, it is just, you see his like, all of his like vertebrae coming out the back of his body. It is nuts.
Yeah, and he does a good job. Like, the backgrounds are all pretty washed out watercolor, but then when it's an action scene, it's like, it turns to an action background.
It's so much movement. It's just like, I mean, you almost feel like it's already flying. Like, the action is there, the flying is there. Like, everybody is off the ground. All of the hair is like, everybody wears a ponytail or something, and
yeah,
like
and they're all fluttering in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even realize. Yeah, all the action scenes, it's like they're completely in the air.
Yeah, it's just all movement. Like the kicks are, and everybody looks rubbery. Not rubbery. That's not the right word. I mean, like, it just looks
like they're being like after you're being kicked and your body like arches in that weird way. Yeah.
Yeah, it is just fantastic art.
The movement behind just that weird background, it's almost like one paintbrush stroke to the side or whatever direction the people are attacking in. It adds so much energy and shows you really the contrast between like when they're moving and when they're talking.
It would be really cool to see his process, because I bet you he does use like a full size, like a 4-inch paintbrush and just like washes it with like a gray swoosh, because like, and then goes over and lets that dry, and then goes over it with pencils and ink, or just straight ink, because like the fine lines look effortless, but at the same time, like, I'm looking at like one of the guy's fingers, and it's like the anatomy is right, but like not quite right. I mean, like, his finger looks like 8 inches long. You know, like, everybody looks elongated, but the characters, each face looks, they're
very distinct faces.
Distinct. There's no same face. There's no, you know, like, everybody, and like all of the jackets they wear are all like, you see all the creases and stuff, but like in a very loose
But you see
fashion.
the creases in shadows, and like, sometimes those will be watercolor instead of the fine lines, and there's a cool blend of watercolor and lines in the shading of their clothes.
It must take hours, because he has to let this stuff dry, and then goes over that
doing all the layering.
Yeah, it's layered. It is fantastic,
but it's not cluttered, because each part is so distinct.
Right.
Even though there is a lot in each panel.
Well, yeah,
this might even be my favorite action that we've seen in the history of our podcast.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's really cool that you said that, because I think you're right.
To, we've had some pretty good ones. What was that? The samurai guy and the big, like, there weren't even any words, hardly. What was the name of that? Do you know what I'm talking about, Larry?
Samurai.
Shaolin Cowboy.
Oh, Shaolin Cowboy, yeah. He had a lot of action, but you know the difference between there, and I was just going to make this comment, is there's no backgrounds here.
No backgrounds really at all.
They're in a basement. You get a little bit of foreground stuff every once in a while. Maybe like after they hack and slash these first set of zombies, you kind of see like the zombies in the just a hint of like carnage behind them. But like if you just look at any page, it's almost just like a wash behind them.
Yeah, and the characters.
The characters, yeah. There's no walls. There's no, you know, there. Yeah,
I think it would make it cluttered.
You're exactly right.
There's so much detail in the characters, and they put so many characters in each panel, and even there's quite a few words.
Oh yeah, it is
it's
pretty
reasonably wordy. Like, I think we did a pretty quick summary. But there's like the words are good details. Like the whole describing the zombie thing, I went over that a little, but like it was good and interesting and unique. Like worth. It wasn't like, oh, look at all these words I got to read. Maybe it was for Larry, but I don't know.
You know, and then we ended this issue on page, I'm going to have to browse the page here, 29.
Like
29. And I didn't realize it, but as we, the last page of this arc, or this story, is our two masters walking away into a blank page.
Yeah, with a completely blank page. It's a full page of them walking away in completely white.
And they don't have apprentices with them.
Yes.
That's the end of this story.
On to the next one.
On to the next one. All right, James, did we find your new favorite number one comic?
Ooh, so close, Larry. So this was my favorite art. And I imagine if I kept reading more stories, they would keep building on each other. You know, we were only really introduced to the two masters, and we really didn't even see the masters that much. We mostly saw the apprentices.
Uh-huh.
So there weren't quite enough hooks for me to make it number one. But I put it as number 2.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Infinite Kung Fu, right after Infinity.
How
did you put it, Larry? What do you got?
This was completely random for me, and I have to go back and look at my notes, but I put it at number 5, which I think isn't very favorable, but I think, I wish you never put my feet to the fire on this, because I think it's a strong 5. But we've read some good comics this season.
We've read some really good ones this year so far, Larry.
And this was fabulous. This is fabulous stuff, but I think there could be a little more
hook.
A little more hook and a little more comic book to it. Like I like a lot more. I mean, this just feels like one chapter of a good novel that I would stay with. I don't know.
No, that's a good point. It isn't it does seem more like a novel than an issue of a comic book.
And it is a novel. It's 459 pages, and so
that's a good point.
There's so much fun that happens in this, and it culminates to a big crescendo, almost Lord of the Rings style.
Oh wow!
And but it kind of takes you a Lord of the Rings style amount of reading to get there.
Yeah, so maybe as a whole it might fare better, but as a first issue, which is what we're ranking it on.
Good,
number 5 for Larry. So I got a question though. The art. Where would you rank the art as one of the best arts?
Oh, for sure.
Or were you more of a Cowboy Ninja Viking art guy?
No, that's
That's a little too watercolory.
I kind of go back and forth sometimes. You know, I can be fickle. This is great art. This is really super good stuff.
The art's the best part.
But I know about this guy's his color stuff, and he did a really bright colored book. Dang, I think it's called Black Science, but that's not right.
That's an ironic name for a colorful book.
What is it called? Oh, it escapes me right now, but I was turned off when he put it into color. And then I don't know. I feel like maybe it's the best art we've seen so far this year. This season. So
there we go.
But I want a little more bite with each story. So
yeah, I feel you.
All right. So next week, I'm looking forward to this, and it's totally help me out, James. Accessible. This is a character that we all know, love, and hate. It's Darth Vader.
Oh. Darth Vader.
Star Wars Darth Vader.